Okay, kia ora guys. I've got a question from a student and she was wondering about page 15 from the Walker Maths book. She was asking about these combined roots, powers and coefficients. So I've got a couple of examples which should help you to be able to answer the questions on this page. So the first one I've got here is I've got a list of 6 to the power of n up here. So if I have 6 to the power of n, so when n equals 1, 6 to the power of 1 is 6, when n equals 2, 6 to the power of 2 is 36, 6 to the power of 3 is 216, 6 to the power of 4 is 1296. So I guess you've got to get sort of familiar with your powers and recognizing them when you're dealing with surds. If you want to sort of like cheat while you're in the exam, it's not really cheating, but you could have your calculator out and you could go and just test these sort of things. You could just go and say, what is 6 to the power of 3? Right, it's 216. You can also use that to find, so see how it's the third root of 216. You can use your calculator to do that. So you could write 3 shift here, right? So that does the third root of 216 and it will output that there. So that's the first little tip. So when I'm dealing with surds, I find the numbers are easier to deal with in the root form, but then powers are way easier to deal with when you write them in their fraction form. So what we're looking at here is we can split it up first. So we could do the third root of 216 multiplied by the third root of x to the power of 12. Right? And you can do that with roots. You can split them up when they're being multiplied inside. So the first one, we just did this on our calculator, so we know that that's 6. And over here, I'm just going to change the form. I'm going to change it so third root could also be written as something to the power of 1 over 3. And that's going to make this a lot easier. So we have x to the power of 12, and that's to the power of a third. And then that's just going to be way easier to multiply from there. So let's do that. So it's just going to be 12 over 3. So it becomes 6x to the power of 12 over 3. And you should be able to do that if you're doing level 2 algebra. 12 over 3 is 4. So that's the simplified version of that one there. So let's have a look at the second example. I've made sure to reuse a power of 6 so you can see again. So here, they are giving it to you in power form. So I'm going to just approach this one first. So something to the power of a half is the same as a square root. So here we've got to do square root of 49, and then it's just y to the power of 6 over 2. So hopefully you can see what I've done there. I know that a half is just square root, and I'm approaching the number as a square root, and I'm approaching this y to the power of 6. I'm just doing that to the power of a half because that's easy to multiply. I just chuck the 6 up on top there. Let's have a look at the second one. I'm going to deal with the number again as a root. So this one's 1 over 4, so that makes it the fourth root of 1296, and we can chuck that in our calculator even though we know it's going to be 6 to the power of 4. Let's just have a look anyway. So we just go 4 shift root 1296. Whoosh, that's 6. Very convenient. Whoopsies, I forgot to put y to a power here. Well, let's see what happens. Y to the power of 1 over 4. So let's do the next line of working there. So square root of 49. I mean, if you don't know, you can just use your calculators. But I think you should know square root of 49. So that's 7. 7, and then 6 over 2 is 3. So that's that one looking nice. And we just worked out that that was 6 before. And we got y to the power of 1 over 4. So now we just put these together. So we'll multiply integer by integer. So that's 42. And then we've got y to the power of 3 times y to the power of 1 over 4. So it's a little bit tricky. Remember, when we're multiplying, we just add them. So it's 3 plus 1 over 4. And I wouldn't say that that's pretty enough quite yet. So we're just going to do a little bit of mucking around with that number. 3 is actually the same as 12 over 4. So I'm going to do that. So it's 12 over 4 plus 1 over 4. And so that makes them easy to deal with. So that becomes 42y to the power of 13 over 4. And I would leave that in fraction form personally. So hopefully that helps for page 15 of the Walker Maths book.